Hey everyone, this is Sarah with sewingpartsonline.com and welcome back to our sewing mini-series. In this series, we give you short, straight to the point videos with fast projects, tips, and tricks to fit more sewing into your week. In this episode, we are going to learn how to cut and sew sequin fabric. First, let me warn you that sewing sequin fabric takes about 3 times longer than your average cotton fabric because of all the prep work you have to do before you even start sewing. So before you trace or cut, give your fabric a good petting to find the nap. You want to follow the nap layout for your pattern pieces so that all the sequin falls in the same direction. Flip your fabric over and trace everything on the back. So let's pretend this paper is your pattern. Use some chalk or marking pen to outline. Then go back and draw your seam line. You want at least a 5/8 of an inch seam allowance. Now hand base along the seam line and cut along the chalk line. Just know cleanup is a pain. And in order to sew this bad boy together, you have to remove all the sequin in the path of the seam line, which is why we basted it first. This is the part that takes forever. So I remove mine with tiny scissors, but I've heard other people use seam rippers or are able to remove a string of thread, which removes all the sequin in one long row. It's recommended to remove all the sequins within the seam allowance, but if you're low on time or if this isn't like an article of clothing, you can really skip the extra removal. Just use your own judgment and try to have enough removed on the seam line so that your needle doesn't hit too much sequins with each stitch. The recommendation is to use a needle that is suitable for the backing fabric. So my backing is a tulle, so I'll use a size 70 or 75 needle. A lot of people recommend using a zipper foot when sewing sequin, and I've also found it works really well. Just remember to take your time because haste makes waste. Many people skip the sewing machine entirely and just hand sew all their sequin projects. So if all this work just to sew on a machine makes you cringe, give hand sewing a try. Once you've got your seams finished, you'll fill in the bald spots by sewing on loose sequin from your scrap fabric. This step also takes a lot of time, but it really makes a difference on your end product. If you have any comments or questions, be sure to leave them in the comment section below. If you just want to come and hang out with our little sewing community, be sure to visit us online at sewingpartsonline.com, on Facebook at facebook.com/sewingpartsonline, Twitter at sewingparts, Google+, Pinterest, Instagram, we're everywhere, and be sure to subscribe by hitting that button below for next week's sewing video.